On this video, I will introduce you to the finance and HR matrix. The overall color framework of the finance matrix is blue, to allow you to differentiate it quickly from the HR matrix, which will have an orange framework. First, you can see that you have different types of tabs. The tab Settings shows the general information of the project. The yellow tabs, where you will plan all your costs, and the orange tabs will provide you dashboards and recaps of your budget. Now let me explain you quickly, step by step, the practical functions of the matrix. When you open your matrix, you will have a security warning message informing you that the macros have been disabled. As you might know, the matrix is linked to macros. To work on the matrix, you have to enable the content. In case no message appears, go on Developer, Macro Security, choose Disable all macros with notification. Click on OK. Then you should close and reopen the matrix. The message should appear. Before we go any further, and as you might have noticed, certain cells are blocked, formatted and protected by a password. This is done to guarantee an optimal working of the matrices. They can contain formulas or can be used with the macros. So please don't try to unblock, change them or insert lines or columns where you normally can't. On the settings page, on the right at the top, you have the possibility to choose the language of your matrix. It can be French or English. You also have to be attentive to the existing colors. You can change them, but I advise you to limit as most as you can this method. Indeed, it can create errors because of the macros. All the cells that can be modified are in yellow. They can be manual or they can be lists. To have a better visualization of the drop-down menus, you can zoom slightly on your Excel sheet. The white cells are blocked and generated automatically by the matrix. Same for the gray cells. They represent here the past months. In this example, we start our forecast in April. This means that we can no longer change the forecast data from January to March. And finally, the buttons are generally in orange or in gray. On all those different sheets, you have several buttons that you need to manage to plan your resources. If you need to insert a manual planning line, first click on the line above where you need a new line, then double-click on Insert on the left, and choose the number of lines that you need. Here we only need one line. We click on OK, and we can see that a new line appears. I recommend you to fill it from the left to the right due to automatic calculation. If you realize that you plan a non-useful line, you can delete it by clicking on the line. Here, we will delete the created line. But the procedure is always the same. Then double-click on Delete. Click on OK. If you want to reorganize your lines, you can move them by clicking on the line you need to move and then double-click on the button Line Top or Line Down. For example, here we want to organize our lines by account number. If you need to change the sheet's view, as you might have noticed, on the left or at the top, You have the possibility to group lines or ungroup them depending on the type of information you need. Here, on the Recap Analytic tab, we would like to know in detail our monthly budget destination, actual and forecast data. We just need to click on plus to unhide those informations and minus to hide them. If we need to change the sheet's view, we have different buttons. Default view. By clicking on this button, we will come back to the initial configuration of the sheet. This is useful if we grouped and ungrouped a certain number of range or columns. On the planning sheets, we can choose to show the calculations, if we want to see our cost parameters, or show distribution if we prefer to see our monthly distribution. You must refresh your matrix to memorize the last entered data and ensure that the matrix is updated. Always use the refresh button on the settings tab. The Excel refresh isn't fully efficient for our matrices. This button is used to update the settings, the forecast, the imported informations, the recaps and the dashboards. Once we are done with our matrix, we can close it and save the informations. If you wish to send several matrices, I advise you to send them through a zip file. This way you are sure that your matrix won't be corrupted. Select your two files, click Write, and then send them to compressed zip folder. You can choose the name you need. Here we will call it Fin Matrices.